Hi, I'm Dennison, creator of the Marine Diesel Basics project and books. A few days ago, I received photographs of the dismantling of my former sailboat, Oceans 5. And this actually upset me quite a lot to see the boat come to such a sorry end. Some people have asked me why I got off the sailboat after 8 years of being on Oceans 5 and having brought her back from 26 holes in the steel hull. So I thought I'd make a short video about, what was going on. So I was sailing, I sailed across the Indian Ocean, then down the east coast of Africa to South Africa, then around the Cape of Good Hope, then to Namibia, and then across the South Atlantic Ocean, heading for Brazil. The 4 autopilots I had on the boat all died or wouldn't work or broke. And I ended up hand steering for more than 2 weeks, which got me into a very meditative state. It wasn't particularly tedious. Obviously, when I wanted to sleep, I had to heave to, just let the boat do her own thing for a few hours while I got some sleep. But otherwise, it was fine. Weather conditions are good. The wind was off the starboard quarter. But it got me in a very meditative state, and I came to the realization that while I wanted to continue sailing, I also wanted to continue with the Marine Diesel Basic books. And book 1 has been very well received, and is now out in 5 or 6 languages. And I wanted to finish book 2. I've been working on it for a long time. It already is over 500 pages, has over 2,400 drawings. And I just realized that if I continued sailing and putting in all my time, effort, and money into maintaining the boat, etc., and doing the ocean passages, I would never get the books finished. So as I approached St. Helena in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean, I decided that really I had a choice. In fact, it wasn't really a choice. Either continue with the boat and give up the books, or give up the books and continue with the boat. So I decided that I would focus on the books and give up the boat. This was not the season to, I could have sailed back to South Africa, except that due to a storm around the Cape of Good Hope, when I was trying to get around, I was a few days late checking out. So according to immigration, I was then banned for a year. They don't allow extensions. It's a very complicated process, very bureaucratic. Basically, it's just not allowed. So I was persona non grata in terms of sailing back to South Africa. If I'd gone on to Brazil with the boat, you can only be in Brazil 6 months. Then you have to be out of the country for 6 months. And the boat can only be there for 18 months, or it attracts import tax of 100%. So going to Brazil, storing the boat, coming back to Canada, that was really not on the cards. Taking the boat to Panama and then leaving the boat with a broker, that was a possibility, but it would have taken at least 6 months and a lot more money to get there. So I decided no, I would give up the boat in St. Helena. A very generous friend offered to underwrite having a delivery skipper bring the boat back to South Africa, which is what ultimately happened. I then actually flew out of St. Helena eventually, and the flight goes through Johannesburg, but the only way to know that you can go through South Africa is to actually check in. When you book, you can't do it. It's a crazy system, but that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, with the delivery skipper going back, he hit some bad weather, and the boat was knocked down, like right down, mast in the water. Fortunately, he was down below, and although he was thrown about, he was not injured. On deck, the life raft was washed away. The dinghy, the tinny dinghy, was tied down, but it was washed away. And there was quite a lot of, dislocation and not structural damage, but just things thrown around everywhere down below. So he limped back to Simonstown in South Africa, and the boat was then put up for sale. However, in that condition, the 2 most visible things when you go on the boat are missing, right? The dinghy and the life raft. So that put people in a not very enthusiastic manner, and it was being put up as a job, boat that needed work. So she didn't find a buyer. Then we went to auction. Nobody came to the auction. So now she's being dismantled to defray the costs of getting her back to South Africa. It's not a particularly happy outcome, but it is what it is, and one has to move on. But I was very upset to see the photographs, so I thought I'd come down to the water and just make this video. I feel very comfortable here with the boats, sailboats in the background, and just share my thoughts. But I'm continuing with the book projects. Book one, the French, the Italian, the German, and the Portuguese, and very shortly out with a Spanish version. So until we meet on the water one day, I wish you fair winds and a reliable diesel.